for Cigar Talk, the fastest growing cigar show in the nation. Whether you're a new cigar enthusiast or a cigar aficionado, we have something for everyone. Bringing you the best interviews, cigar reviews, and weekly giveaways. So grab yourself a cigar.
It's time to light 'em up.
Welcome back, Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We have co-host Bryant Falconer with us in the studio today. How you doing today, Bryant?
Hey, man, I'm doing good.
Awesome, man. So let's go ahead and get to it and talk about what we're smoking, and then we'll get to the rest of the show. So what are you smoking today?
Today I'm smoking the Toronto Exodus 1959, the 50 year series.
Oh, man, those are good smokes.
Can I talk again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, you talking about the cocoa and earth and that spice that hits all the way through all 3/3, man. This is a great stick.
Yeah,
bro.
it really is. I haven't had one of those in a while, but because we don't have them locally, but they're great smokes.
Yeah, I was given this in Galveston by a guy that works for the state that's retiring. And instead of us giving him gifts, he gave us a gift. And I truly appreciate this Toronto, man.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah.
So everybody knows it's kind of early today, and I'm smoking a La Galera, Connecticut. You know, that's one of my favorite early on cigars. So, man, the wrapper on this is like velvet. I mean, it is so smooth. And you know what? I've never had a Galera that didn't smoke perfectly. On the Connecticut side. Now, I have had the Maduros, and I like those, but they're just not as smooth as these Connecticut's. And it's funny, I was talking to someone not long ago, and they were like, man, you're a Connecticut guy. And I was like, it's funny because I'm not a Connecticut guy, but I have definitely thrown in a lot of Connecticut's over the last 3 or 4 months.
That's that grandiose palate you have.
Well, it's just me wanting to try new things all the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And that's the only way you can find out. Like you said, you're still searching for that perfect stick, and nothing has ever achieved that level. So you keep looking and looking and looking, and that's when you.
It's the holy grail.
Yes. Because when you find it, you're like, okay, I don't want anything else, and that you don't want to be that way when it comes to cigars, because there's always going to be another one come out.
Well, I tell you. And let's talk about the sponsorships first.
Go ahead,
because I smoked a cigar last night I want to talk about, but it's from one of our sponsors. So let's go ahead and get that part out of the way.
Yes, sir.
Our first sponsor that we've been doing now for, 6 weeks. Yeah. This will be week 7, is Hiram and Solomon. You know, we love those guys. They make great sticks. And we just had last week David Blanco, who blends for them. And, you know, I love the traveling man, so, you know, got to keep propping that cigar up.
Me and my master mason. Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
So, anyway, and our new sponsor, we got McAuliffe Cigars on, and, you know, I love so many of their sticks, and I don't know if you've actually seen the whole line of cigars that they do. Have you seen everything they make?
Not everything.
I'll have to actually get a count on it, but I believe they have like 17 different cigars. Were you aware of that?
Not at all.
No, see, you know probably about 7 or 8. Yeah. So they have this huge line of cigars, and I'm going to introduce you to all of them because they are a beautiful cigar.
I will graciously take that instruction.
Yeah. So last night I was up at the shop and hanging out with Paul from the 5150 tour.
Yes, sir.
And I was smoking a McAuliffe Medallia. Have you had one of those?
Got one in my traveling pack right now.
Nice. Well, have you actually smoked it yet, though?
No, sir, but I will be waiting to try it.
I'm just going to go ahead and give a little spoiler here. Oh, yeah, there it is right there. Good-looking stick. Anyway, the first week in July, we're going to announce Cigar Talk's top 10 cigars of the first half of the year. And you will find the Medallia in it. Anyway, we're very fortunate. We're blessed. We're so thankful to have McAuliffe on board. We're a huge fan of their cigars. And speaking of McAuliffe,
both ambassadors.
We're both ambassadors. We were talking about this before the show. I'm kind of jealous now. I'm number 298.
And I'm 156.
Yeah, see, I don't know how that happened.
Hey, they give the lower numbers to the greatest smokers.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, if you guys haven't signed up to be a McAuliffe ambassador, go by the website. I'll post a link and you can go by and sign up, and they send you a cool challenge coin that has their logo on it. Really nice challenge coin, and they also send you a handwritten certificate from McAuliffe.
That's correct.
And they do a lot of cool special stuff for their ambassadors, so definitely go by and check that out. I've been a huge fan. Probably, I learned about the McAuliffe brand probably about 4 to 6 months ago.
Yeah,
a little bit like 6 months ago, but full on like 3 months ago.
Yeah, it's been about 3 to 4 months for me just knowing anything about them.
Yeah,
and then when you introduced them to me, and I started smoking them, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a good stick. And then we talked about the ambassador program after you went in and did the interview with them, and I immediately sent my information in and got 156 again.
Yeah, we got you. So anyway, we want to thank McAuliffe and Hiram Solomon for being sponsors of the show. We are honored that anyone would want to sponsor us because we're just having a good time, and hopefully we're adding value to the community. Because the cigar community, man, it is the best community that I know of.
I haven't had an experience like it, and I truly appreciate, as we call it, the community, the ability to come together as like-minded individuals, sit down, enjoy different smokes or the same smokes, and just talk and just reminisce and just have that, I can't even think of a word for it.
Think about this, though. About 2 weeks ago, we had a listener of the show come to the shop,
Junior.
San Diego Jack, on Instagram. Check him out. But anyway, he came and visited us at the shop, and through the cigar community, he found a job here and now has moved from San Diego to Abilene, Texas.
That's the community.
It is, man. I mean, he found a job without even looking for a job.
Just sitting in the smoke shop, opening up, talking, and the community say, okay, we're going to pull you from San Diego. You come in here now. No, Temecula. You're going to pull you from Temecula. Right. You're here now.
So CigarManOffical just lost a smoking buddy.
Yes, he did.
And, I was going to hook them up, and now he's gone. And the cool thing is, later in the show, we're going to actually reach out to CigarManOffical. We haven't talked to him in a while, find out what he's up to. He's been a tremendous help to the show, and so we're really looking forward to having him on here in a little bit. And then following up after the break, we will have Glynn Loope from Cigar Rights of America come on. We're going to have a great interview with him, talk about what's going on with the FDA and the government, find out how you can help take up for your own rights. So make sure that you are standing up for your right to have a cigar.
Because if you don't open your mouth, you can't say anything about what's going on.
Well, and the thing about it is, when you look around and see some of the things that are going on, this wasn't going on 15 years ago. It just came out of nowhere. And I was talking about that with Glynn Loope on Cigar Rights of America. I was like, just think if we would have had Cigar Rights of America 20 years ago.
We wouldn't be in the situation we're in.
But they've only been around for like 10, 15 years. Well, this is 2019.
Yes, sir.
If back in the heyday, back in the heyday around what, 79 to like 90?
Yes.
That was a heyday of cigars. No one ever thought that your rights would be taken away from you.
Because that wasn't the mindset back then. Government wasn't into
everything.
Yeah, into every part of your life. Right. Down to the point where what you smoke, where you smoke it, how you smoke it, and who you smoke it from. And I'm just talking about tobacco products to that extent. Why? What do we need it for?
I don't get it.
Thank you.
I don't get it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So anyway, we were talking earlier before the show, and something we want to talk about that we thought would be really cool is if you could go back in time and smoke a cigar with someone who's no longer with us, who would that be? And let me just tell you before the show started, we named who we were going to talk about, and I named mine, which is George Patton, and he said Jesus. So, I can't top that one.
Yeah,
so anyway, I changed the rules on him and said, you can't pick a family member that's no longer here, and you cannot pick Jesus. So anyway, I went with George Patton, and I'm a huge fan of George Patton. I have been ever since I was a junior high student, and here's the reason why. I hadn't told you this before, but when I was in 9th grade, we had to do a book report on a patriot. And so I picked George Patton, and I took the book home, rented the movie at Blockbuster. I didn't read the book. I watched the movie.
How old is that? Blockbuster.
Oh, right. Blockbuster. For all those who
millennials,
if you don't know life before the internet, you don't know Blockbuster. But anyway, I rented the movie at Blockbuster. I did my report, got an A, and which was rare for me. Anyway, So here's the funny thing, though, that you don't know. When I went from junior high to high school, I had to do a report on somebody famous that was an American in my sophomore year. And I bet you can't guess who I did.
George Patton.
George Patton. And then my senior year, I had to do a report on somebody.
So did you recirculate the same one, just added a few or taken away?
Ninth grade, I got an A.
So you kept it going.
Sophomore, I got a B. Senior, I got a C.
Oh, my gosh. So it was the same paper?
Same paper, pretty much. So anyway, I was just a huge fan of Patton because he was one of those leaders who got down in the trenches with his men. You know what I mean? He wasn't like sitting up in the office saying, this is what I want them to go do. He was like, hey, men, strap on your boots because here's where we're going.
And I'm walking right with you.
Yeah, he was very, some people thought he was real arrogant. I think he was just super confident. And, basically what he did in World War II saved the lives of so many American soldiers because we had a battalion of men that were just getting their butts kicked by the Germans. And he was like, you know what? I'm taking my guys and we're going to truck halfway across Germany in the snow and we're going to kick ass. And that's exactly what he did.
And that's what it came down. When you are the supreme commander, which he held that position as the commander of the United States forces, which meant everybody. You have to exude that type of confidence because you're asking for everybody in green or blue to believe in you. And we as Americans, we have to you have to give us something to believe in.
Absolutely.
And that's what he gave.
And he was a leader. He wasn't just telling people what to go do. He was like, well, this is funny, man. At one point, at one of the camps they were in, a German plane flew over and it had like those 50 cal guns shooting as it went down. And he went out in the middle of nowhere as this German plane flies over just shooting. And he's got his Colt 45 shooting at the plane as it goes over. I mean, even if he was a little crazy, he was those guys' hero. You know what I mean? It was like,
that
wow.
Was the leader.
Yeah.
He's out there and against what we would say would be an unsurmountable odd, he still was like, okay, one of these bullets can make it there.
And I'll tell you this, some people didn't like him because he didn't put up with any BS.
No.
I mean, if you were, let's just say, a weakling, you weren't buying in. No. If you didn't have 100% buy-in, he was shipping you home.
Yep.
And, I respect that. You got to have buy-in with your leader, or you might as well not be on the team.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
Okay, so that's mine. I would love to sit down and have a big old cigar with George Patton. Who are you picking? I don't know who you're picking.
Mine would be Alexander III of Macedon, commonly known as Alexander the Great.
All right, well, tell us why you'd want to sit down with him.
Being a military man and understanding the nuances and, as you pointed out with Patton, the ability to lead people to a point where they will follow you through anything, that's what Alexander.
Well, here's my thing, though. It was a little different for Alexander the Great, because if you didn't follow him, he probably just chopped your head off.
There's still people getting their heads chopped off, too.
Right. Yeah.
Because, you had a man that went from Greece and conquered 90% of the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And he did it with conquering this land, talking those soldiers into and giving them a belief in him to follow him to the next land. It wasn't that he killed all of those. He took some of those the strongest with him, but he had to convince them to follow him. To me as a leader, he exuded it. And as you pointed out with Patton, he was right there in the trenches. Well, not the trenches, but on the ground with his men. He fought with his sword and shield as they did. He didn't just ride on his great elephant into the battle. He got off and he got down there and he took some lives also.
Yeah.
But it was because he believed in his ideology. He was trying to unite that era, and if it didn't come down to Persia,
Yeah, I mean,
he would have conquered the
there's
entire
no
Middle
argument
East.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
he would have conquered the entire Middle East.
And I'll tell you what I find fascinating. If you've ever studied any of the Roman Empire,
Oh, yes.
dude, they were amazing when it come to military because their soldiers were such trained soldiers, but every single soldier was also trained to do another job.
They had to have another job.
Yeah.
Because when you're away from your home, when you're away from your headquarters, life still has to go on. And you can't count on.
They would like build bridges,
Yes.
and they would build these massive forts. And I mean, that was amazing. I mean, and
That's the mindset of the modern day military.
When you're building your
Oh,
fort, it's not like you're going down to Home Depot and buying wood.
No,
You're chopping wood. You're
Yes.
stripping the branches. You're hauling it back to the location. I mean, it was just an amazing feat.
a mindset.
And we're talking 30,000 men.
Come on.
Dude,
Come on.
that's crazy.
Come on. It's to the point with Alexander, he is the one, the military academies, that's who you're graded by.
Yeah.
When you're coming out as a leader, you're graded by what effect would you have under Alexander's reign, under his mindset. Because the guy, I mean,
I'd probably dull his sword with my neck bone. No, I'm just kidding.
but it comes down to that mindset, and he was a great. As a military man that I would love to sit down and just talk to him and pick his mind and get his mindset on each campaign. What were you going into this one thinking of? When did the tide turn? When did your strategy have to turn? Because that's the change that we have to understand. When you're in a war, you can't just go in with one plan and think that one plan is going to work. If you don't believe me, ask Germany.
Right.
You have to adapt and change.
Yeah.
And one thing that we were taught in the Army is you have to adapt and overcome. And that comes from the mindset of Alexander, because he went into it with a mindset, with a plan, but he had to change it depending upon how the tide went.
Well, that's something we were talking about earlier, too. Attila the Hun was a great military man, but he didn't always adapt.
No.
When he came into the Roman Empire and just started kicking ass, he went down there and just started annihilating these Romans. Mm-hmm. But then whenever I think it was Attius from the Roman Empire went against him, Attius adapted. And
yes.
he figured out what he wanted to do before Attila did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really the first. Yeah, he took that strategy away
from him.
And it was really the demise of Attila.
It's called taking that bullet out of their holster. They use everything they already have. Boom, 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 boom. It didn't work. They reaching in the holster. There's nothing there. Yeah, I've taken your advantage away from because I knew what you wanted to do.
Well, that's enough about the military expose that we had on the show. I didn't know that we were both going to pick military guys, actually.
Because you wouldn't let me pick Jesus.
Well, if we did votes on that, if you didn't vote for me, you're going to hell. Or vote for you. Anyway, let's get to a phone conversation with CigarManOffical. I know he's standing by, so let's get to that, and here he comes. I told him I'd call him, and it's been way longer, so he may not even answer.
What's up?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey, just sitting here waiting for your phone call.
I know. I told you 3 minutes, and I think it's been like 30. Sorry about that.
No problem, man.
So the question is, are you smoking a cigar?
I went and got another one because I just finished a great
Nice.
H. Upman. I had a H. Upman 1844 reserve tonight.
Oh, very nice, man.
Yes.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't smoke enough H. Upmans. Those are great cigars, and I really don't. They're not on my radar. But then when I do have one, I'm like, why don't I smoke one of these more? You know what I mean?
It's a consistent, smooth, great smoke. I've just really enjoyed. I have about 10 in my humidor, so every 10 cigars or so I'll pull one out just to know I got a consistent great smoke.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm smoking the Gran Habano cabinet selection that came in the luxury cigar box this month. Have you had it yet?
I did. As soon as I got my box, I opened, I saw that, and I was like, and normally we'll put the cigars away for a few days in my humidor, but that one just called out to me, so I smoked it right away. It was
Dude,
good.
it's fantastic. I've never
Yeah,
had
it's
this
good.
cigar before, and I was telling Bryant earlier, I've been on a real Corojo kick lately, and I tell you what, man, it's just, it has so many flavors, but at the same time, it's like ultra smooth. You know what I mean?
Ultra smooth. That's what I would call it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, man, we haven't talked to you in a while. What have you been up to?
Dude, just life hits you, and you just smoke cigars and just keep plowing forward, right?
Hey,
so, yeah,
well,
no, it's been good.
I don't want you to gloss over what you've been up to, because I know you've been up to some pretty awesome, amazing things, because I see you on Instagram and we talk from time to time. So let's not just pass by the fact that your son graduated from Notre Dame at the top of his class.
Dude, Notre freaking Dame. Magna Laude.
Yeah,
no,
dude.
Cool.
Yeah, congratulations on that, man.
Yeah, congratulations.
He's a stud. And I don't know where he got that. I mean, I didn't know your
Now,
wife.
I don't know either. I keep on asking the same question. Yeah, I'm like, man, I'm glad somebody has the smarts in the family.
Right. I mean, dude is kicking butt. And he told me a story a while back. He was at, what was the whole project that he did? And he was met with Senator, well, actually, he's not a senator anymore, John Kerry. What is he now?
He was Secretary of State for Obama, and then also Condoleezza Rice, who was Bush's secretary.
So
yeah,
he got to meet with him. Yeah, he hosted an event, and John Kerry was there, and everybody shook John Kerry's hand. But your son took it a step further.
He did. He had the privilege to go down to Cuba for a week for spring break, and he picked up a couple of Cuban cigars, and he gave him a Romeo and Julieta cigar as a gift when he shook his hand and welcomed him, and to thank him for I guess normalizing relations with Cuba. Now, just so you know, I'm not a huge John Kerry fan, but it was pretty cool to see, when your son does something like that, brings people together for a big event like that. And he got a lot of kudos from the university and from the president of the university. And he was actually in the media as well because of it. But yeah, it was a great way to cap off his 4 years at Notre Dame. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I tell you what, I mean, your average college student, like I said, shakes his hand and he's, elated that he gets to meet someone who's been in the political spectrum for that long. But your son was like, and here's a couple of Cuban cigars.
Exactly. Well, the cool thing is there's a picture of him handing him, and John Kerry looks like a little kid going, "Oh, nice, a Cuban."
Yeah. I mean, that's your son's got a touch of class. Again, I don't know where he got that either, but yeah, great job.
You.
No, congratulations,
well, I will
man.
Take it.
I know you're super proud. You should be. And so anyway, and then you didn't get to make the trip out to Texas last month, but your wife and other kids came out for a wedding in Tulsa, and they got to hide out in the closet during a tornado.
I mean, we're used to earthquakes here in California, so she got there. Yeah, she calls me and she goes, "There's a tornado," and I said, "Go hide in the bathroom or the closet,"
Right. Well,
and afterwards, she went down to the front desk and she goes, "You guys should have something in your rooms to say, if in case of a tornado, what do you do?" So she kind of reamed them out a little bit, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah,
they're safe.
The hotel's like, this is something that we deal with every day. I mean, do
right?
you guys? Now, let me ask you this: in California, in the hotel, does it say on the wall you're going to have an earthquake?
Well, this is true. No, it doesn't. Put it this way: if there's an earthquake, you just run. You just get out.
Well, what's funny is, and you guys probably don't know this, but CigarManOffical is from Temecula, California. And last week at the shop, we had
San Diego
Jack swing by and see us, and it turns out he's from Temecula. I mean, small world.
Temecula is not a big place. So it's a Southern California wine country. Love living here. It's beautiful, but nobody's from Temecula. So when I heard that, I was like, who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Right.
That?
Did you reach out to him yet?
I haven't.
Well, I will send you
an introduction.
I will send you his information and introduce you, because I told him about you and he was like, "Oh yeah, cool." So there's you a new smoking buddy right there.
Right there, man. And I can't have you every day, so I might as well get a new one out here.
Hey, nobody wants that. Bryant's over here shaking his head.
Yeah.
I want to come down there and hang out with Bryant.
See, that's how you get it.
Cool dude.
Yeah, well, you know where we are, so you let us know when you're coming, and we'll be here with open arms, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Hey, and I just wanted to say thank you for your service, Bryant. I appreciate it, buddy.
No problem. It's based on the family.
Hey,
absolutely.
So, and also, since, thank you for your service there, Mr. Cigar Man Official. You guys don't know it, but Cigar Man Official was in the Navy.
Yes, that's what it's about.
Absolutely. Proud Navy during the Cold War. And, I was on a nuclear-powered cruiser, and I spent a lot of time out to sea. But great privilege to serve my great country.
Yes, I'm right there with you.
So, hey, let's change gears here a little bit. What have you been up to as far as cigar lounges? Have you been out anywhere in the last month, since I haven't talked to you a whole lot?
There's a place that I found in not too far away from Temecula. It's halfway to San Diego. It's called Lord Puffers. And I honestly, it's like closer than a lot of the other cigar lounges that I go to in San Diego. And I just had never been there. But, man, that's a great place. They have a great humidor, great community feel to it. Everybody's welcoming. And there's a smoker there I've been looking to hook up with, Escondido dude on Instagram. Unfortunately, he wasn't in there at the time. But definitely another smoking buddy I have to hook up with. Nice, man.
So was the lounge pretty nice, pretty plush?
It's definitely very comfortable. The whole place is really it's a beautiful place. It's new. It's newer. So they've really done a great job there. They have a great selection of cigars, and definitely there's plenty of room to sit down and enjoy your cigar, which I really appreciate, because in California, there's so much anti-smoking. I don't know if you heard, but just yesterday, I believe, Beverly Hills came out with a new bylaw to ban smoking, if anything.
All tobacco. Except there's one cigar lounge that stays open because Arnold Schwarzenegger did his part.
Right. The only exception is cigars in cigar lounges, and I think 2 hotels.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see they did that. Let's separate premium cigars from other tobacco, because it's not the same.
It's not the same, and that's why we need Cigar Rights of America, brother.
Hey, well, it's funny that you say that, because today's guest is Mr. President of Cigar Rights of America.
Are you kidding me? That is awesome.
Yeah, man.
Great.
I can't wait. We haven't done the interview yet. That's coming up on the second half of the show. And I've got a lot of questions, and I'm sure he has a lot of answers. So I'm super excited to have him on the show this week.
I can't wait to listen. That's going to be great. I just smoked I got 2 premium cigars as part of my membership. $25. You get you get your money back, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a Rocky Patel Edge, and it was great. But it had a Cigar Rights of America band on it. So if you're listening to this, you can go to my Instagram account, CigarManOffical, and then you see a post I did there on that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got my card. I got my 2 cigars. I've already smoked those. And, on this show, we're big supporters of Cigar Rights for America, because I'm all about freedom of rights, period. But don't mess with my cigars, or you're not. I'll be like the Incredible Hulk. You're not going to like me when I'm angry.
Absolutely. Well, we need somebody advocating for us in Washington, right?
Absolutely, man. And, for like you said, for the price it costs to be a member, you get 2 premium cigars. So you're talking about a few bucks to be a member of something that's taking care of your rights. And so to me, it's just a great organization. And if you're not a member, man, do not complain to me about anything political as far as cigars go.
Yeah. Absolutely. We should all support them regardless of our political stance. because they're advocating to make sure that we have a place to smoke and smoke affordably, not be taxed to death on our cigars.
Right. I mean, let's separate the tobacco with the premium cigars, but also let's not put, California taxes on everybody else.
Absolutely. Well, I'm thinking of moving to Texas, right?
Right, Abilene, right?
Come on.
Absolutely. I need a new cigar lounge.
The Leaf
there sounds really sounds awesome.
Hey, man, we were talking about that earlier. Jay and Corey are doing a bang-up job over there. Their selection, dude, you would just be amazed. They have a better selection than most cigar lounges that are twice their size. It is crazy what they've brought in.
Well, that's because you're curating all that for them.
Hey, man, I'm trying to do my part. I'm just trying to do my part. Just in the last year, man, it seems like we've brought in Roma Craft, McAuliffe, Warped. What did we just bring in? The Aganorsa Leaf, the War Fighters, Hiram and
the War
Solomon.
Fighters.
Dude, it's just, and the Blanco line, dude, it's just all over the place. And, when you go in there, it's like used to, you'd go into the cigar lounge and be like, okay, I'm going to smoke this. That's what I always smoke. But now you go in and you're like, holy crap, what am I going to pick? There's just like so much eye candy everywhere.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you just sold me. I'm coming down.
Hey, well, you know what's funny is San Diego Jack came down, and he was blown away, not just by the selection, but by the price. Yeah. He was like, holy crap, I'm going to load up while I'm here.
Well, dude, we feel raped and pillaged here when it comes to buying cigars at a lounge. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, he was smoking, I believe, a Padron 9000, and I think that stick was like $9, and he was saying in California it was like 20.
Yeah.
Oh, easily. Yeah, I just went in and had a Drew Estate flying feral pig. And it was at my local shop here in Temecula, and it was $26.95.
Oh man, you know what? I just had an undercrown flying pig last week at the Leaf, and it was $14.
Yep.
Oh, you're making me jealous there, man.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry. Well, you know what? We are very fortunate in Texas. As a cigar smoker, we just feel blessed because we do have it pretty good. And the thing about it is, join Cigar Rights of America so we can keep it that way.
Absolutely, for everybody, exactly.
So, we used to call you all the time and get tips, and then that just kind of went away. So, is it?
I got a tip.
You got it. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping you had a tip for us. So, lay it on us, man. What you got?
Well, it's a real simple one, and most cigar smokers will know this. But I've been going to a few smoking cigars with people that are pretty new to cigar smoking. And, it's like golf. You don't like to give tips unless people ask, right?
True.
And so, we were smoking, we were having a great time, and there's a bunch of young guys, and they're all new cigar smokers. So I was teaching them how to light it and how to smoke it and how to get the best smoke from it and keep your cigar cool and all these things. But the biggest thing that they got out of it was how to put out a cigar. And basically most people are used to cigarette smoking or smoking other things, and you kind of got to put it out. But, I just said, listen, the best way to put out a cigar is just when you're done, you just lay it down. So
right.
That's
and
my
I'll tell you what,
tip,
and,
right?
and that's a great tip because for new cigar smokers, for regular cigar smokers in the shop and they see you stomping one out, it's very annoying. It really creates this huge plume, and then it just keeps on smoking instead of going out.
Exactly. Most cigars will extinguish themselves very quickly if you do not smoke it. So the best way to do it is just lay it down and walk away.
That's right, man. Lay it down and forget about it.
That's right. Move on.
Well,
Next.
awesome, man. Yeah, right. Next. That's me. I put it down and light up another one
every day.
So what else you been going on, man? I know you've been busy. If you guys don't know, CigarManOffical is like the mastermind marketer.
Well, I try to be. I try.
No,
Definitely, I'm full of ideas.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Well, you're full of great ideas. He's been instrumental in helping Cigar Talk move up and grow, and he's provided so much support in so many ways. And so the show, Cigar Talk, wants to say thank you as well, Kevin.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely, man. It's a real privilege, and I enjoy what I do. But yeah, marketing is my thing, and helping people reach their audience wherever their audience hangs out. That's, I help them make money doing what they love doing. So I'm hoping to, help you drive traffic and get
wait
more
a minute.
people.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's the one thing you haven't done is help me make any money.
Come on, man. Come on. I'm trying. You just don't do everything I tell you to do.
I'm just messing with you, man. So
you're giving away the money. You're giving away the cigars.
Hey, you know what? We just want to give back to the community, and that's the reason we do that. But I don't know. I'm guessing you heard that we partnered up with the Luxury Cigar Club, and now they are actually doing the giveaway for us each week. So we're so thankful to be partnered up with them. And I mean, what a great product to be getting as a giveaway for the fans. You know what I mean?
Dude, I get the a Luxury Cigar Club box, and I love it. It's like Christmas once a month.
Dude, that's what I say.
Get.
That's what I say every week, and I'm like, I'm not kidding. It's like the best mail day on the planet when the Luxury Cigar box shows up.
Yeah, I'm like smoking stuff I probably wouldn't normally buy. Like, I'm looking forward to the Lancero from Hiram and Solomon.
Oh, dude, that's a great smoke.
Have you smoked it? Okay, yeah.
I've had one before. I haven't smoked this one in this month's box yet. But I'll tell you what, I mean, it's just like this Gran Habano cabinet selection. I probably would never pick that cigar, and I'm about halfway through it right now, and I'm absolutely loving it. So now it's on the list of cigars I want to smoke. You know what I mean?
Well, that Nova Perfecto in there, like I've been recently really liking Perfectos because, I normally don't like the big ring cigars, but it's like the Flying Pig a little bit.
Yeah.
You get that nice smoke. I haven't smoked. I am looking forward to it. It's from everybody. What everybody's saying, they're really kind of hyping it up. But I would say if you haven't checked out Nova, that's a brand that also has just kind of come out of nowhere.
Well, I'll tell you a little something that you don't know is. Guess who we're going to have on the show in a few weeks?
The founders and Cigar Blondie.
Cigar Blondie. That is correct.
There you go.
You know what? We have been really excited about what she's doing. Not only has she made really good cigars, but I think she is a master marketer as well. I've been super impressed with going from a small boutique cigar company and reaching out all across the United States. I don't know that I've seen a growth like that other than maybe Viva La Vida cigars. So, and I would put those both in the same category of being great cigars.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, that what I'm finding is a lot of these new cigar companies, unless you embrace social media and where the smokers are and make the smokers want your cigar and ask for it, it's not going to get into the stores very quickly. The stores are not, they have so many cigars to, people pounding on their door to put the cigars in there. How are you going to get it in there? The people got to ask for it. And I think they've done a great job of that.
Absolutely. And I think that social media is the place to make that happen. And as far as I'm concerned, right now, Instagram is the platform. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I am on Facebook, and the Facebook is a little bit different because it's more about community. Well, maybe not more about community, but it's more community based than it is photo based. You know what I mean? We're on Instagram.
The groups are. Yeah.
Definitely.
Facebook itself is, I feel, kind of losing its shine a little bit, but the groups are strong. You're right. There's a good, once you join a group, you feel part of something.
Right.
It's kind of like, you're part of that group. You get to know the people in there. It's like Cheers. And so definitely the Facebook groups, and Instagram is definitely different. It's kind of an open group, but definitely, like, you've grown yours. I've helped you grow yours, from where we start off.
Oh, dude. CigarManOffical, as far as growing your Instagram account, is instrumental. He has the ability to really help you grow your Instagram. And let me tell you, when I started my Instagram account, I was actually growing pretty fast. But here's the thing. I really hate to say this, but I was spending about 6 hours every evening after work on Instagram. And that's how much time it took. And this was like 6-7 days a week. I was spending 6 hours a day. And I went from a few hundred up to about 2,500. And that was good. I was excited. And then Kevin comes along and instrumentally helps me. And within the last, 5 months, I went from 2,500 to 10,000 followers. And,
broke 10,000.
Yeah, I broke 10,000. Thank you. Well, I mean, thank you. So, if anybody out there is looking to grow their Instagram and do it the right way, because we all know there's a lot of people on Instagram that are buying followers, and I still have no idea why you would do that, because they're not real accounts. I mean,
they're not.
If I'm posting material to fake accounts, I mean, what's the purpose? I mean, I guess there's a level of, oh, look at me, I have this many followers. But I mean, I'm 50. I'm not 15. So.
Well, I don't know, with all these selfies you've been taking lately, I'm starting to wonder.
Oh, come on. Hey, have you looked at Bryant's account? I call him the selfie queen.
Come on.
Oh, I love it. No, but Bryant looks good when he takes selfies, dude. He knows what he's doing. Brian, you got to show him how to do it.
It's in the genes.
It's in the genes.
It's the East St. Louis genes, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, so you know what? I didn't see you vote last month on who had the best music.
I'm just gonna tell it straight up, man. Bryant's just killing it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
He's got soul, brother.
Hey man, we
just don't have that kind of soul.
It was great talking to you, man. Have a good night.
All I got to say,
you can't throw a country. You can't throw a country. You got to throw something. I mean, I love country. I love country.
All I got to say is, listen to this. The next one coming out.
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough because he surprised me with his.
Oh my goodness! I can't wait. I can't wait.
Bryant was surprised after he heard my selection.
Oh yes.
He didn't know that I had that much soul.
Oh, I can't wait for this. I just want to see a picture of you in the old rock days when you had your long hair and everything.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna put one on Instagram. I'll put one on Instagram for you.
That's the end of Instagram.
Please.
Yeah, I'll probably lose like 5,000 followers, but I'm gonna put one up for you, bud.
So everybody, check out Cigar Talk's Instagram and watch for that, and razz him until he puts it up.
Yeah,
you know what? I'll do it. Anyway, hey, man, we appreciate you being on the show. It's great always talking to you. I'll probably call you after we get done with the show because we hadn't talked in a while, and I can find out all the real dirty, nitty-gritty stuff you got going on.
Sounds great, brother. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for having me, and yeah, it's a great show, man. I love the show, and great to be part of it. So everybody have a great night, and we'll talk to you real soon.
All right, take care, brother.
Appreciate you.
See you.
All right.
Great to talk to CigarManOffical. We love having him on the show. It's been a while. He's always smoking some really unique cigars. He's also another subscriber to the Luxury Cigar Club, so we always have at least a few of the same cigars every month that we talk about and see which ones are our favorites. But anyway, coming up after the break, we've got Glynn Loope from Cigar Rights of America, so stick with us. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey guys, thanks for hanging through the break. We've got Glynn Loope up for an interview from Cigar Rights of America. I can't wait to get into the political side of what's going on in the cigar industry. And so anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. How are you doing today, Glynn?
How are you, Rob? Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. We appreciate you taking the time and coming on and sharing what's going on in the political world of the cigar life.
Well, Congress has left Washington for the week, so the swamp is empty, so it's all safe.
Hey, well,
democracy is, your pocketbook is safe,
pocketbook
children are safe.
Yes. So tell us what's some of the battles that you guys see coming up in the near future. I know there's a lot of stuff in the news. I just saw what they did over in I believe it was Hollywood, where they shut down all tobacco except for the premium cigars.
They did. Beverly Hills.
Okay, Beverly Hills, yes.
Well, what's the difference?
Right, they're all one the same to me. But
Interesting you bring it up like that because of what they did. I guess people will be able to go from across the street from the city of Beverly Hills to the city of Hollywood to purchase their perfectly legal tobacco products. But to answer your question, it's the darndest thing, and it's a horrible, horrible national precedent. But the city of Beverly Hills, driven by the mayor and the vice mayor, passed on a 5-0 vote a ban on the sale of any tobacco product in the city of Beverly Hills because it didn't, how did they put it, convey their image as a healthy city. And as you mentioned, 2 existing cigar shops in the private Grand Room Cigar Club were exempt. We wrote a letter to the city council in favor of that exemption, but I have to be perfectly honest with you. It doesn't come without some reservation because it's the most anti-capitalistic, anti-free market measure, in some time. There's some that try to beat it, but this is a bona fide attempt at prohibition within the city of Beverly Hills. So even though we're glad that the shops in the club were exempt, if one of them wanted to sell, who knows if that permit could be conveyed. What if another cigar shop wanted to open up
right.
a perfectly legal spot? It's ridiculous. And, it's not going to stop anybody from smoking. It's not going to stop anybody from walking, like I said, across the street, literally, into Hollywood or any of the other surrounding jurisdictions that border the city of Beverly Hills to buy their perfectly legal tobacco products.
Right.
And the tax receipts for those jurisdictions will go up. I hope people like the Convenience Store Association or the National Association of Tobacco Outlets or others monitor that kind of thing to show the revenue impact.
So basically, Beverly Hills is about to lose a lot of income, and Hollywood is fixing to just take it all over.
Sure they are. Any of the surrounding jurisdictions. This kind of thing's been, it's happened before. Putting it in a different context than banning the sale, when New York State went to a 75% OTP tax on cigars, it drove the business straight to the internet. It drove the business straight to tax-free Pennsylvania. It drove the business straight to less tax in New Jersey, Connecticut. People know how to follow commerce, and elected officials just are economically naive if they don't believe that that's going to happen in Beverly Hills or happens anywhere else. I remember a story, since you're in the South, you'll appreciate this, when Arkansas did a dramatic tax increase before they passed a tax cap on cigars. But this dramatic tax increase, this was like 5-6 years ago, the tax receipts in Mississippi skyrocketed. And people know what to do. It doesn't dissuade anybody from buying or enjoying whatever they want to enjoy. They're going to find other ways to do it.
Absolutely.
And elected officials need to wake up to that.
Yeah, that's crazy that they think that they can basically, enforce their high place of morality. I'm not real sure why they're against the tobacco industry in general. But my big thing is I'm huge on personal rights, and that's one of the reasons that I joined Cigar Rights of America, and I preach about it every single week. And it's not just my cigar smoking rights. I believe in freedom of rights, period. So, and one of the biggest enjoyments I have is when I have time to smoke a cigar. So, you guys are taking the fight to the front for us, and we just want to say thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. It's funny you bring it up in that context because I do the Jimmy Lakey show on Fox Radio Colorado every now and then, and Jimmy's a big libertarian thought advocate in the state of Colorado. Great radio show, and we're always saying on that show, listen, it's not about cigars. Do you enjoy cheeseburgers? Because cheeseburgers are next.
Right.
Do you enjoy your Diet Coke? Well, Diet Coke's next. And I say this with all sincerity, if you don't think caffeine's a target, you're sadly mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
Caffeine is going to be a bona fide target by the nanny state in the not too distant future. If you enjoy putting a little bit of salt on your green beans, well, we might want to talk about that salt. And
right.
You like a bit of sugar in that coffee? Well, let's talk about that sugar. So it's not just about cigars. You're absolutely right. It's about, anything you actually enjoy, the nanny state will find a way to come after it.
Right. And, especially, I've always said, I'm an adult. Let me make my own decisions. And, also just to throw this in there, my older sister is a RN, and I seen her a few weeks ago, and she told me that sitting is the new smoking.
Yeah, there's a lot of articles about that.
And I was like, so are they going to start mandating daily walks for all of us?
Well, we're this is all related to the subject of cigar rights and personal enjoyment, but you're hitting on a huge subject. And not to convolute or confuse the issue any, but you bring up a really intriguing point, and it revolves around national health care. And I'm not going to debate the pros and cons of national health care. That's for a lot of others to argue about in the halls of Congress. But that being said, there were provisions in the Obamacare bill that allowed for insurance companies to dramatically increase the premiums for smokers.
Yes, that was mine included.
And they really didn't differentiate between, I would do a health survey on my insurance, and it really doesn't differentiate between a pack of cigarettes and enjoying a cigar, frankly.
Absolutely.
It's very troublesome in that regard. And that opening that Pandora's box gives the government the latitude to start regulating personal lifestyle. And that's got to be a long-term fear for anybody that enjoys cigars. So, you brought it up in the context of legislating morality. It goes even deeper than morality. It goes into regulating lifestyle choices. You were talking about Beverly Hills earlier. Someone just noted in the media, I read a story this morning, said, but, they're licensing dispensaries to distribute pot in Beverly Hills. Mind-altering drugs, perfectly acceptable. But if you want to enjoy a cigar, by golly, let's have an entirely different conversation.
Well, what's funny about that is I don't partake in any marijuana, whatever, but I'm okay with that. If that's what an adult wants to do, just leave my cigars alone. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Well, it's a huge debate, and the hypocrisy is not lost on anybody, whether you're talking about alcohol or illicit drugs, when you're debating tobacco policy.
Well, I've never seen anyone get pulled over for driving erratically after smoking a cigar.
Never.
So,
never.
I think out of those that you mentioned, we're in the safest group anyway, as far as what we do when we're done.
Well, it's like what Abraham Lincoln said, a man with no vices has very little virtue.
I agree with that one. So tell us a little bit about your history. I did see that I looked up your bio, and it caught my eye when I saw the logo for OU. So that's not too far from where we are. So tell us about how you got started and what got you into Cigar Rights of America.
Well, I've always been in government and politics. My first job out of college was working for a member of our Virginia legislature, and worked in government and politics my entire professional career in one form or another. And in 2001 to 2008, I had my own lobbying firm, consulting firm, and one of my clients was the Cigar Association of Virginia, fighting smoking bans principally for the retailers in the state. And this was before a lot of other state associations were even formed. So 2006 and 7 and 8, they were a client, and basically I was doing it for cigars.
Oh, nice.
Just because it ticked me off that the Virginia legislature was even considering a smoking ban.
Isn't that crazy, too, with Virginia's history? I mean, their rich history in the tobacco industry.
That's ridiculous. And our former Governor Kane, who's now a U.S. Senator, spearheaded that. And let's put it this way, I'm still picking the knives out of my back. But we did fight it off in 2006 and 2007, and that's what brought me to touch the industry for the really first time as a advocate. And we brought Rocky Patel into Virginia to help wine and dine the House Republicans on our smoking ban bill, and CRA was just getting off the ground, and that was the beginning of a conversation about being the founding executive director, and that was a little over 10 years ago.
Wow.
Every day's been an adventure since, let's put it that way. What I love about this is no 2 days are the same. I mean, it's like you mentioned, it's one day you're writing a letter to Beverly Hills City Council, the next day you're giving testimony against an outdoor smoking ban in New York, or testimony for cigar bar language in the Nebraska legislature, or statewide smoking ban in Oklahoma, and then turn right around and start hustling the halls of Congress against FDA regulations. So
you got your hands full.
Really what I love about it is the diversity of what we do touch.
Yeah.
And it's a big country, and I've never ceased to be amazed by the creativity of our opposition. I got hundreds of case studies of creative approaches to our opposition and what they do to try to make people like you and I miserable. You know, we were talking earlier before we started the recording about Colorado, and it's an example of the type of legislation that's going to come up more and more. When politicians don't want to make tough decisions, they throw it to a referendum. And they say, oh, let the people decide. Well, you know, what are we sending you there for then?
Right. Why are we spending more time and more money to do what you can do?
If we're going to throw the difficult questions to a public referendum in the expense of an election. And that's what happened in Colorado this year. And there was a bill that would have thrown a dramatic tax increase to a referendum, and fortunately that bill died in the state Senate, largely in part to a great friend of the industry, a passionate cigar consumer, Owen Hill, in the Colorado State Senate, and he and his brethren fought that bill off. But you know, several years ago, this is the benefit of now having done this for 10 years. You start to get a perspective on history and what has happened before and how it can happen again. But for several years, when Alabama couldn't pass a smoking ban, and they still haven't passed a statewide smoking ban, but a state senator from Mobile, Alabama, put in a bill that would have thrown the smoking ban question to a public referendum. Well, it's almost impossible to win a referendum, especially on a tobacco issue. I don't care what you're talking about. It's expensive, it's ugly, and there's more of them than there are of us, and it's tough to do politically. But fortunately, her bill died multiple years in a row in Alabama. But a similar bill to Colorado was presented in Arizona this year that also died. But just the fact that it was introduced should send a warning signal to everybody. Excuse me.
Yeah, because I mean, basically, you get they're trying to get their foot in the door, and once they get their foot in the door, they just keep pushing until we have a fight on our hands. So yeah, and so my other question is, so you've been doing this for a little bit over 10 years. I mean, 20 years ago, we didn't have the Cigar Rights of America, and excuse me. 20 years ago, we would have not thought, or maybe 25 years ago, we wouldn't have even thought that we needed Cigar Rights of America. And look how quickly the landscape has changed. And so you can tell us how it's changed just in the last 10 years. And so that shows us how serious and important it is to stand up for your rights now.
Well, I'm fond of saying, there's a great book. I've got it on my shelf in my office right in front of me called Velvet Glove, Iron Fist. Velvet Glove, Iron Fist. And it's a history of the anti-smoking movement, written in a very objective academic way. traces the whole chronology of the anti-smoking movement. And you get 3/4 of the way through the book, and you realize if the cigar industry had been playing the political game in the late 80s, early 90s, the proverbial boom time, if they'd been playing the political game the way that we have in the last decade, as an industry as a whole, not just CRA, but the whole industry, retailers, everybody, it'd be a very different political landscape. Very different political landscape today. And I'm fond of saying we're not going to be the first industry, and we're not going to be the last that claws its way back from political Armageddon. But it sure as heck would have been easier if we'd started, like you said, 20 and 25 years ago. And in the last decade, the number of political issues that at least we've touched in the industry as a whole, the Retailer Association, it's an amazing, amazing list. And we're talking about a combined industry that's 0.5% of the whole tobacco universe.
Wow.
And there's only, a couple of thousand premium handmade cigar shops that cater purely to the premium handmade cigar community. Less than 4 million probably consistent cigar consumers in the country. We're a fraction of a fraction, but we make a lot of noise. And the biggest mission, I think, of CRA is to build cigar consumers as a political force, to build them as a political constituency. And we've got a lot of examples of where it's worked. Obviously, plenty of examples where it hasn't, but we got to be in the fight. As I'm fond of saying, at least they're going to hear the other side of the story, and that's the name of the game. That they're going to hear the other side of the story, and that's probably the thing I'm most proud of for the last decade, is that engaging consumers in the process, whether it's an FDA public comment period, or showing up at a city council meeting, or going to your state capitol. We've got dozens and dozens of examples of where consumers have been basically coached and talked to and recruited to go do that. My friend Ted King in Oklahoma got a group together to go to the Oklahoma State Capitol in March against the statewide smoking ban proposal in Oklahoma. Trey Boring, since you're in Texas, you need to get to know Trey, but he's a great volunteer of ours who's gone to the Capitol when the statewide smoking ban's been introduced in Texas. I could go around the country to examples of where, average Joe consumer has taken it upon themselves to get involved in the political process to protect their ability to enjoy cigars. And you'd think that'd be a very, very simple task. But as I mentioned, our opposition is ever more creative, and they've done a masterful job of equating enjoying a premium handmade cigar to smoking a pack of cigarettes. And I'm not being dramatic when I'm saying that. That's exactly what the FDA's been doing, is making it so that there's very little public difference between the two.
Yeah, and it's funny because whenever I tell people I smoke cigars, they equate it to that you smoke. You know what I mean? And there's no difference when you talk to someone who is not a cigar enthusiast between smoking cigarettes and cigars, and you have to take the time to explain it to them. So I know exactly what you mean, and that's not just your everyday guy. That's all the way up to the top of the food chain when it comes to the political institution as well.
Well, and I know that a podcast goes to a lot of different places, but since you're in Texas, I want to emphasize this. Our biggest battle, obviously, is FDA regulation. And even though the regulations have not gotten any worse under the Trump administration, we're still fighting to get rid of what was adopted as a final rule during the Obama administration. And I don't say that in a partisan context. It's just a reality. In the last 6 months of the the Obama administration, that's when the final rule was passed. And the most economically and industry threats that are within that final rule are pre-market approval of new blends. The user fees have cost this industry millions and millions of dollars. It's threatened jobs directly within the industry, from small entrepreneurs and cigar shops and small batch craft boutique rollers and manufacturers to mid-sized companies that just don't want to have to deal with the level of regulation. Our litigation has made progress in putting a stay on the warning label requirements. Our litigation counsel has worked diligently to get this the delay in the testing of premium handmade cigars, which is an absolutely ridiculous thing to have to do for an all-natural product.
We recently ordered a box of cigars, and I believe it came from like Korea. The box of cigars was a special box that a Vietnam veteran had shared with his troops back in the 60s, and we tracked down and found this particular box of cigars. And when I say we, I mean the Leaf in Abilene, Texas. And anyway, just as a gift, the owner of the shop gave that veteran a box because he was going to go meet with the veterans that he had served with, and just wanted to have him have something that they remembered that was really great while they were at war to share. And the warning label that came on the box from Korea was absolutely just crazy. Instead of saying
it covered half of the box, did it have the graphics on it, or
it had it covered half the box on the front and the back, and it was a picture of this infant baby that was deformed, and I was just like, man, you got to be kidding me.
Well, see, and that's where we got to be thankful for a First Amendment, but because graphic warning labels were shot down by the Supreme Court, and they actually sent the agency back to the drawing board on that. And frankly, that's one of the reasons that they're proposing covering 30% of a cigar box. They're just using us as guinea pigs to try to pull off what they want for the cigarette industry.
I see.
And it's why this stuff's got to be fought back in court. It's an expensive proposition. But it's, as an industry, it's got to be fought in the halls of courthouses as much as Congress.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly where we are today, as well as advocating for permanent changes to the regulation with the Trump administration. Which kind of brings me where I was starting with the FDA and the legislation we've got. We've got H.R. 1854, the House language that would exempt premium handmade cigars from FDA oversight, and Senator Rubio of Florida's got S9.
Yes,
and
Article S9.
Goes to our cigarrights.org and fills out a petition to their member of Congress. You put in your name and zip code, and the message will automatically go to your 2 members of the Senate and your member of the House of Representatives. And like I was saying, I know that podcasts get heard all over, but you're in Texas. Is Senator Cornyn and Senator Cruz need to do their part, step up the game,
I've already
get involved, and they haven't done anything. And I'll say that publicly.
I've sent my
they
letter
haven't done anything to help the cause.
There's
a lot of cigar consumers, and there's a lot of cigar shops in the state, and a lot of brand owners, manufacturers headquartered in the state of Texas.
Absolutely. And
I'll just highlight them. You can go to cigarrights.org, and top bar, you can click on that and to see if your members of the House and Senate have signed on to the legislation. But since you're personally in Texas, I wanted to point out Senator Cornyn and Senator Cruz to step up the game and get involved in supporting Senator Rubio on S9.
Absolutely, and I've sent letters to both of them, and I've just been talking about the Article S9 and get behind it and support it as much as possible. So, so what other things can regular Joe smoker like myself do to join the fight? I know we want to join Cigar Rights of America. That's a no-brainer. Write your senators. And I did not know that you could go to the CRA website and it has that form already pre-made. I just went and did it on my own.
So, you have a petition that's the top bar on the site, and you can go to their legislative link just below that and fill out a petition, and makes it nice and easy for everybody. It's a pre-done packaged message for you. And you, like I said, just with your name and zip and basic information, so that the member knows, that you're one of their voters.
Right.
It directly to them based upon your zip code.
Awesome.
But to answer your question, it's important for cigar consumers to call the district offices, and everybody's got multiple district offices for their member of the House of Representatives, and call their office and tell them what it means to you that the FDA not be allowed to regulate the premium cigar industry the way they've proposed.
Okay.
So call your member of Congress and call your U.S. Senator offices, both in Washington and their state offices. Send them an email, because they do track it. Everybody likes to dismiss, does my voice really matter? And I can tell you, I've been in these hundreds of House and Senate offices, and especially if you reside in their state, and especially your members of the House of Representatives that have to run every 2 years, they keep a track on major legislation. They keep a track of the yays and nays that call in. They want to know what the pulse of the people are saying. And so in that regard, we hope everybody will call the state and Washington office for their member of Congress. And lastly, if any of your listeners send us an email to info@cigarrights.org, info@cigarrights.org. We'll email you our briefing packet that is a complete it's exactly what we give members of Congress and staff in Washington. You can hand deliver that to the district offices in your state when you're asking them to support the exemption legislation. And it really makes a profound impact that people take the trouble to do that. I said that was lastly, but I got one more for you that I think people ought to do, and that is invite the district staff or the member of Congress to your local cigar shop. Let them see that we're not the devil. Let them see that we're not poisoning the masses. Let them see that the children are not walking into a premium cigar shop. So we call them cigar town halls. Invite your state officials to your local cigar shop as well. Let them see it. Let them feel it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And so we call it host at Cigar Town Hall. And where 3 or more are gathered, politicians like to show up.
Yeah,
all part of making cigar consumers a bona fide political constituency.
Well, and I'll tell everybody that's listening, if you are on Twitter, you can follow Glynn Loope and the CRA, and they completely keep people up to date on all the different social media forums. But Twitter, man, every day I can just look through y'all's feed and see what's actually going on nationwide. So we want to say appreciate what you're doing on that front as well.
Well, you can never know too much, and we're all in this mess together. I mentioned Oklahoma, that piece of legislation sponsored by a conservative Republican member. And again, I don't say it in a partisan context because we got a lot of Democrats that are friends of ours that help beat that type of legislation. But when you talk about the word conservative, you don't usually think about big government types. And this was a member of the Oklahoma leadership in their legislature, crept up behind everybody and puts in a bill with no exemptions. Well, same thing's being floated in Louisiana. And the same thing, if he can fly it in Oklahoma or Louisiana, or somebody like banning tobacco sales in Beverly Hills, I'm fond of saying bad ideas spread quick.
That's true.
And so the more you see what is happening in other jurisdictions, people send us notes all the time about our newsletters. And, well, what do I care what's happening in Oklahoma? Well, it might happen to you in New Hampshire. It might happen to you. You can't smoke in a cigar shop in the state of Delaware. And you got to think about places like you can't smoke in a cigar shop in the city of Seattle.
Wow.
And I can assure you that's exactly where our opposition is thinking and where they're going over their long-term game. So just like their long-term game, we have to have a long-term game.
Well, I tell you, in Texas, we actually enjoy some pretty good facilities, and we don't have the bans that a lot of other states have. We don't have the taxes that a lot of other states have. But you look at these other states and other cities across the country and see what's there. Don't think that it can't come in the blink of an eye to where you are. So if you have it good, man, that's even more all the reason to get on the internet, get on your email, get on the phone, and make sure that doesn't come to where you are.
Well, that's exactly right. And you can also go to cigarrights.org and not only join, and when you join, we for doing it, but join, sign up for our grassroots newsletter, which is absolutely free, just to get on our mailing list. It's .org, and people need to stay informed about what's happening across the country because again it can happen to you. I'm working with a group of a dozen retailers in greater St. Louis, Missouri area on fighting off an annual referendum for a smoking ban. Well, if it can happen in St. Louis, Missouri, it can happen in your back door.
Exactly.
I was going through the list of Seattle and Delaware. You can't smoke in a cigar shop in Louisville, Kentucky.
Wow.
By city ordinance. So this type of thing is spreading, And we need to draw a line in the sand and let these elected officials know exactly where we're going to come down on Election Day if they try to do that in our backyard.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, man, I know we've taken up a little bit more of your time than we thought we were going to. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, and I hope maybe in the coming months you'll come back on the show and give us some more updates.
Well, I certainly will anytime at all. I appreciate you helping us spread the word. Before we started recording, we were talking about IPCPR, and we will be in Vegas, and we'll have a booth there. People come by and chat about what's going on in their backyard politically and otherwise, and how we can all work together to defend this passion we all have for a great cigar.
Absolutely. So one last question before we go. What are you smoking?
Yes, sir.
What cigars are you smoking right now? Can you tell us that?
I haven't had one today yet, but I will be having at least a couple this evening. So I'm not sure what I'm going to pull out of the humidor. I usually just stick my hand in and pull something out because they're all good.
All right. Well, now I'm going to put you on the spot one more time. What's the last cigar you smoked?
Oh, my God. Yesterday, coming home from a meeting in Washington, I smoked a La Gloria Cubana, which was actually one of the first cigars I ever smoked, and it was one that Ernesto Carrello produced before he sold his company, so it had some age on it.
All right. Very nice. Great smoke, by the way. All right, man, Glynn. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll be in contact soon. We thank you so much for all that you're doing and everything that you allow us to be a part of. And so if you guys aren't members yet, go by, sign up. I tell you what, it's a great deal. It's $25. They send you 2 premium cigars. So basically, you're getting the cigar membership for free. So I just can't say it enough. Sign up. Let your voice be heard. And Glynn, we appreciate it again, and you have a great day, sir.
You too, Rod. Thanks for helping spread the word.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that interview with Glynn Loope from Cigar Rights of America. If you haven't signed up, go by their website, sign up. You get 2 cigars. It's $25 a year. If someone's speaking on your behalf, go by their website and make sure you send that email or letter to your senator, your congressperson. Let's take this time to make sure that this great cigar community we're all a part of is everlasting, okay? Anyway, that's enough of my rant about that. Let's get on to this week's winner from our partnership with Luxury Cigar Club. And if you haven't checked them out, definitely go by their website. They send you, on the Platinum Club, we're both members, they send you 5 cigars a month. They're handpicked. The 3 guys that own that business over there is sitting around smoking 3 to 4 of the same cigar before they pick it. So you know you're getting the top quality pick. I love everything they've sent me. And what's really cool is, most of the cigars they send, I think only one in the last 4 months could I get at my local shop. So, I mean, it's basically like me traveling all over the United States picking out 5 great cigars. So if you haven't gone by, signed up, go by there, check them out. They do a great service. Love those guys. But anyway, let's talk about the winner this week. We have Justin Lemons from San Antonio, Texas. Justin, I'll send you an email to let you know that you're the winner. Just go by and sign up for the Platinum. I'll send you a code, and you'll get a free box from Luxury Cigar Club. And anyway, we appreciate you taking the time to register. If you haven't registered, go by our website. It's just that easy. And once you register, you're not in the drawing for just that week. You're in the drawing every single week. So, I mean, we couldn't make it any easier. We used to have you jumping through hoops, trying to take pictures and answering trivia questions. And now we've made it easy thanks to the partnership with Luxury Cigar Club of the Month. So let's talk about our sponsors before we go. Since we did the interview, now I'm smoking the McAuliffe Connecticut, which is my favorite Connecticut. And what are you smoking now?
McAuliffe.
Medallia.
Medallia.
Not Megalia, it's Medallia. The G is silent.
Medallia.
Yeah.
But there's a G in there.
Yes, there is a G, but it's silent. But anyway, how you liking that?
Oh, man. I didn't make a bad choice. That's
I
all
know,
I have
right?
To say.
Well,
I did not make a bad choice.
And I didn't even refer you to that cigar.
No, sir, you didn't. No,
Well,
sir, you didn't.
you did good.
I have a mindset to try a lot of stuff also. So when I see something and it piques my interest,
And we
I'm gonna
just
give it a
got
check.
those.
Yes, just got those at the Leaf.
yeah,
Thank
the
you,
Leaf.
Jay, again.
Jay is keeping us stocked up with a lot of good selections.
Yes.
Hats off to Jay and Corey.
Corey.
They're doing a bang-up job. We want to give them a shout-out. If you're not following them on Instagram, go by. They're the Leaf at Abilene, Texas. Man, they're doing so many crazy things that, I mean, it's my favorite shop, just not because it's local, but because the management there really takes care of its people.
Yeah, they listen to us. They really do. And if it's an opportunity to get it, he will try to get it for you.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's the way most cigar shops work. If you want a cigar and they don't have it, just go by and talk to the owner and let them know, hey, man, we really want this cigar in our shop. Most cigar shop owners will start carrying a cigar if you're interested in purchasing it. So anyway, let's talk about what's coming up next week. We do have Jason from Barrel Burners coming on the show. And if you're a cigar smoker and you're on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, I don't know how you don't know about Barrel Burners.
That's true.
They have a great organization. I'm going to go ahead and give one spoiler alert for next week. I was talking to him, and they're huge supporters for Cigars for Warriors. So far this year, through their efforts, they've donated over 2,000 cigars.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah,
That's what it's about.
and that's what you call the community. I mean, and I know there's a lot of cigar clubs out there, and I thought about having different ones on because I do like that whole community. But what I like about Barrel Burners is they're a tight-knit community that is doing things as a group for others. And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to start with Barrel Burners. We might have another one on later on down the road, but I've been talking with Jason for probably, since I first got started.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of great work. He does a lot of good reviews on cigars too. He's all over the place like we are. I mean, I never know what he's going to be smoking.
Yeah.
And he does like a live Instagram, and he also does Facebook. So make sure you tune in. We'll talk about it, how he got started, find out what they're doing, how you can join the Barrel Burners. So, I mean, I think they're doing a great job. So tune in next week. And I guess that about wraps it up.
Yes.
So, again, make sure you go by our website, check out the links for Hiram and Solomon and McAuliffe Cigars. Check out the Ambassador Program. Get signed up. It's free, and they send you a challenge coin. They send you a certificate, and I'm telling you what, I've been a member for about 4 months now, and it's awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk to you guys next week. Until then, keep smoking.